you have to understand that I met Michael during his lowest point in his life. I met him in his hour. I met him when he was, facing charges that could have meant that he died in prison. And the charges were very disturbing. Being charged with child molestation is worse than being charged with murder. It's just a horrible, horrible allegation. And he wasn't only charged with child molestation, he was charged with providing alcohol to a cancer-stricken child to set him up for molestation. He was charged with conspiracy to falsely imprison a family, to abduct children, to commit criminal extortion. These were horrible allegations. So I met Michael at the darkest hour, and Michael was very suspicious of many people who had crossed his path. He felt people were after his catalog. He felt the media wanted to make a fortune on watching him be destroyed and carted off to prison. He was suspicious of many people who had crossed his path. I don't want to give a bunch of names, but the names were very numerous. He didn't know who to trust, who to turn to, who was behind this. He was very verbal that he thought Sony was involved, that he thought the effort was to get his catalog, and he had trouble trusting anyone. In the middle of the trial, he would call Susan Yu, my law partner, who was so important to this acquittal. I mean, she did all the hard work, all the analyzing documents, analyzing witness statements, and she helped me prepare to try this case like nobody could have, and she just, we couldn't have acquitted him without her incredible work. And he would call her in the middle of the night, and he would call me then in the middle of the night, and he was crying, and he would say, you guys are doing so well, please don't let them pay you off. And I would say, Michael, what are you talking about? He said, I know they're going to offer you millions because they want me to go down, and they see that you're doing a great job, and Susan Yu is doing a great job, and they're going to pay you. I said, Michael, nobody's paying me a dime. This is not the kind of person I am. And I got the feeling he was so used to people betraying him. He was so used to, hoping that someone was his friend, and then suddenly they have their hand out, or they're trying to get a project out of him, or they're trying to get money from him. And, loneliness, unfortunately, was a major issue with Michael, because with all that fame and talent and fortune came all the profiteers and the people who were governed by greed and selfishness. And as I've said before, Chris Tucker and Macaulay Culkin.
Years to follow.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
Coherently good conversation was in 2005. It was a very long conversation. And I was so removed from him, and he could feel it and he could hear it. And I think that's one of the things that killed me in the end, too, was that I was very distanced, and he was checking to get a read. He was trying to throw a line out to see if I would bite emotionally, and I wouldn't. I was pretty shut off at that point. And I don't even know how I managed to be like that, but I was. And he was asking me, he wanted to tell me that that I was right about a lot of the people around him, and that it had panned out to be exactly what he and I had talked about years ago. And he asked if I still loved him, and we went into a whole thing about that, and I told him I was indifferent, and he didn't like that word. And he cried, and he was just trying to find out where I was at and how I could become so detached. And then the final part of the conversation was him telling me that he felt that that someone was going to try and kill him to get a hold of his catalog and his estate. And I really didn't know what to do with that.
So he actually gave you names?
He did, and I would like not to say them, but he expressed to me his concern over his life.
For the Democrats, it was ironic, the night that Michael performed for the Democratic Party, I had come by to see Michael's performance. I was leaving, and it was then that one of his bodyguards said, Michael wants to see you. And I said, all right, but tell him I got a speaking engagement, I can't stay for the rest of the show. He said, meet us at the Palace Hotel, and he gave us the room number. And I went to see him that night at 11 o'clock, and that's when he started telling me that he felt they were trying to take his catalog, and he needed my help and all of that. And I told him, I said, well, it's funny you said that, because in 3 weeks, we're having a seminar on are they treating blacks fair in the music business. Johnny Cochran, who's your lawyer, and I at the House of Justice, my headquarters. He says, I'll be there, get there. I said, okay, and after Michael will be there. And it was going to be that Monday, 3 weeks. That Friday, before that Monday, I answered my phone. I said, hello, and it was Michael. Michael said, Sharpton. That's how he used to talk. Sharpton. I said, hey, Michael, how you doing? He says, where's the seminar? I said, I told you it's at the House of Justice, all that on Monday. He says, Monday, I'm here. I said, you're here? He says, yeah. And he was staying here in Manhattan. So I said, well, if you're here, I know you get up in the afternoon, but we have a rally every Saturday morning, and you should come by and do the broadcast. I'm coming. I said, yeah, right. Now, because Michael, like most entertainers, get up about noon. 9:30 the next morning, big limousine pulled up, and he was there. And that was the day he took the picture. He did the rally and stayed over and went and came to the seminar that Monday.
Can you give us just a little bit of an idea? You're going to California today or tomorrow?
I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm leaving tonight, going to Atlanta to do a speaking again. I'll be there tomorrow, meeting with Attorney Joel Katz, who's Michael's attorney of record, and Jermaine and Jackie.